Hello everyone, this video will cover the last two modules for the class of modules 15 and 16. In these two modules, you'll be working on your last piece for the class, which is your final piece. The idea with this assignment is that you'll take something that you have written already this semester, so a short story, a poem, or your 10-minute play, and you will revise it in order to submit it again. In most of the revision, it will involve making it a little bit longer, obviously correcting errors, making sure that you're getting all of the elements in there. So you're using instructor feedback. You also use peer feedback, and you can also submit to the online writing lab to get feedback and then submit your final piece. The last part of the class will be the final reflection, which you will submit in module 16 and as well as your final grade. So let me show you what they'll look like here. So module 15 is pretty simple. You're going to decide what your final piece will be. And so this is the assignment that I'm assigning to you. You'll pick one of these. If you decide to pick your play, make sure you let me know right away, because sometimes it takes me a while to leave feedback on those, and I'll just do yours right away then. And then I should have all the poems done by this point. So you'll pick your final piece, and then you're going to submit to the discussion board to get peer feedback. And so if you have already looked at peer workshops, the peer workshops we've done already this semester, you may end up choosing one of those pieces, and that's fine too. So then you'll get hopefully twice the amount of feedback. And then you've gotten instructor comments. It was I've graded the work, and so you'll look back at that. If there's something that I haven't graded and that's what you want to use for your final piece, make sure that you send me an email. Sometimes students are submitting some late work and I just haven't gotten to it yet. The final piece needs to meet these requirements. So if you're working with a poem, it's going to be much longer. The idea is that you will be adding to an existing poem, or you might include multiple poems. So I've had students do like a set of haikus, for example, in order to meet the requirement. And short story be a little bit longer as well, looking at making sure that you get all the elements in there, and then the play as well. I'm going to take the points out. I'll have a link to the online writing lab form if you want to use that. You have to send it in within two business days is how long they need to respond. So if you want to use the online writing lab, make sure you send it in at the beginning of the week so you have enough time to get feedback. You'll choose your file and you'll send it in, and they can give you some ideas. A lot of their comments are editing type comments, and so that can be just something a little bit different from what your peers might give you. This is the discussion board that you'll use as another workshop. So you'll submit your final piece and then you'll respond to 3 of your classmates. Because we're working with multiple genres in this workshop, make sure that you're looking at the checklist. There are 4 revision checklists in the front back covers of the textbook. Make sure you're looking at the one that corresponds to whatever kind of work they've submitted. That way, the feedback will be a little bit more specific to what they've done. So that's all you're doing for this module, is the discussion board and giving your peers feedback. Try to make sure that you post your work early in the modules so that your peers have plenty of time to respond. And then once you've done all 3 of your responses, then you can take the quiz and finish out the module. So that's module 15. Module 16 is actually turning in your final revised piece, and so you'll submit that here. So you're going to double check criteria, make sure that you have met all the criteria for the assignment, and submit your final draft here. And then the last thing that you'll do is submit your final reflection. So the final reflection looks sort of like the midterm reflection, in that you're going to be looking back at the work you've done, looking back at the goal that you set for yourself, whether or not you've met it, looking at your favorite thing that you've written, least favorite thing that you've written, and also looking at the revised piece, what you learned from revising, and thinking about the future, what we'll use in the future. You also assess your creative writing journal entries, whether or not you did all of those. You should have between 14 and 16 journal entries, and some of you have quite a few, and so that's good. And this is where you'll assess that. Look at your grade. You don't have to give yourself a letter grade yet, but just kind of think about whether or not the grade that you have in the grade book reflects the effort that you put into the class. And then the last thing I'm going to have you do here is just a final grade survey. So there are 2 questions, and that is, what is the final letter grade that you think you deserve for the class, and then justify it, and you can write however much you want here. I need just a flat letter grade. Don't give me a plus or minus because we don't use a plus minus system at Allen, so it's an A, B, C, D, or F. And then you just submit. And you can do it again if you decide that you change your mind. So this will help me to determine your final grade. I will be looking at all of your work for the semester to do your final grade. To determine your final grade, I'll look at everything, but I will also look at the actual letter grade in the class from the quizzes that you have done. I'll look at the work that you've done and whether or not you have actually completed the work in the class. You put forth some effort into the work. I'll look at the grade that you think you deserve, and before I determine what your final grade will be, and that's when I'll submit. So since this is, you also can do the end of course survey if you want to give me some feedback on the class, and feedback's always appreciated. If there's something that you would have liked to have done during the semester, I do appreciate students who give me a little bit of some ideas and that kind of thing. So as the end of the class, last module you'll notice is short because everything's done on Thursday, and that would be because I have to have grades done by the next Monday. We have Friday in case something happens and you needed to submit something and it didn't get submitted. However, keep in mind that at the end of the semester I do not have a lot of time to grade any kind of work, so make sure that you are getting things in on time and that you're leaving yourself enough time to finish it, and that you give yourself that grade, that final grade for the class. So if you have any questions, make sure that you send me an email. Otherwise, thank you for taking this class, and I hope to see you in another class sometime soon.